Chair Brewer.
Yes.
Okay. Now we have to do the application.
Okay, second motion will be for special permit. Motion to accept the application as submitted by the zoning change in Secor pending county response, which we just went through, on zoning amendment and the adoption of local law number 1 of 2018. That's that motion to approve this.
I'll second. Okay, Board Member Spada,
Yes.
Board Member Shiner,
Yes.
Board Member Christie,
Yes.
Board Member Cow, Board Member Rebuffo,
Yes.
Board Member Horn,
Yes.
Chair Brewer.
Yes.
Yay. Okay, you're all set.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time.
Can you sign that?
I've been there before.
The other part too? Sorry.
Do you have that in your file?
No, what is it?
Is the town authorizing us to lead agency?
Oh, no, I haven't got it. Process. Okay.
Yeah.
Alan, did you pass those papers along, or? What's the beginning?
Is that what you
It's the beginning of the secret form, starts with number 1.
to keep people out of here? No.
Did we ever have those at the secret form? I think we
Okay.
What? Well, I'll take it back. You already went through
Right here.
No? That's it.
We're doing this.
So, next up is the bike scooter rental. Anybody have any comments about the parking situation?
I do. Can't we give him some sort of conditional thing based on him finding and presenting to us another location for parking?
Just something.
Right.
3 seconds.
Yeah. You think that's a problem?
What if we suggest that he park his personal vehicles in another location during his hours of business? So he has 3 spaces. He
Or at
can,
least has all the spaces. And I think that would be tough to follow up on. Maybe if we stick with with finding a separate spot, then that kind of covers his personal stuff. So it's up to you guys. And I like the idea of moving his cars. I just don't see how he stays on top of that.
well, he would have to work that out. That would probably be easier for him than waiting another month to get permission to use Declan's property.
I mean, we can just make this conditional on him providing us something, right? That's conditional approval.
Right, I could do that.
Yeah, so we wouldn't have to come back again, he would just be able to, you know, he wouldn't get the permit until he came and presented us with something.
Ann just pointed out that section 116-24C, cash payment in lieu of on-site provision of required off-street parking spaces within the Hamlet Commercial District, provision of the minimum required number of off-street parking spaces as calculated. It's a whole long paragraph, I'm not going to bother reading all that all, but that's an alternate situation. I know they do that in Woodstock.
Yeah, Woodstock, it's $900, at least it was a year and a half ago.
To pay something you don't have.
Right, but the key is you're able to determine required off-street parking.
We don't, which,
But there's no real, nothing we can point to in black and white that says for this type of use, this is the required
Right.
off-street parking.
Yeah.
You made a good estimate before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the easy thing would be to say 2 off-street parking, but monitor, the neighbors are going to monitor to see that it doesn't
Yeah.
get out of control.
Yeah, he would have to monitor that, yeah.
Because that way he's got 3, he's got 1 for his car. There's nothing in black and white that says 2 is the wrong number.
I mean, I would like to attach something saying just that he's responsible for people not parking on his neighbor's lot, where if that becomes a problem, you'd have some recourse to come back to the building department and say, this is not good.
Would I return in front of you, ladies and gentlemen, if there was a problem?
No, you would go to Mr. McGowan.
Oh, I
The
would.
enforcement
Yeah,
officer.
enforcement.
Oh, code enforcement?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. I didn't know where to go.
Yeah, you know, you
Okay.
have to come by us.
Okay. Thank you.
And that way it puts the onus on him to keep people off of your property.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and the special permit continued existence would be contingent upon that.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah, and I would have to issue him a violation.
Thank you.
could you live with that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Can I just ask a question? What are you classifying this business as?
That's a good
Class 2
question.
home occupation.
As a home
Currently
occupation?
outside of the dwelling.
It's not a retail or a personal
I'm
service?
not sure I agree with that, but it's offered at this point.
That's what, he came to us when Warren was still here,
Yeah.
and that's what we decided.
We don't have anything specific.
He's doing it, it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, I mean, for me, it's a retail service. You're renting,
I think that was prohibited.
I don't, no, it's Hamlet Commercial, it shouldn't be prohibited retail sales.
It feels like.
It's short-term
It
retail.
feels like retail,
It's
yeah.
retail.
Yeah.
It's
And that would
it's
dictate-
ancillary that he's got the office in his house, that's,
Well, there's a,
But if you look in your book, home business, you have a footage that can be used at the home site for a business. Look in there, there's a footage in the law.
well, what I
Home
see is
business.
other commercial recreation and amusement facilities, so it is I would think it's a recreation facility. If you're renting bicycles, that's certainly.
You know, they're not, again, this is up to you guys, but facility to me would mean it's contained within that structure, it's the facility that the recreation takes place in. I'm just speaking, maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but I have concerns about deferred parking and opening up a precedent where somebody else can come in and say, I don't have enough parking and I'm gonna make a deal, and then it's, as Art said, now who's gonna enforce and track this about how many spaces Declan has to be affordable to rent out and make sure that he doesn't pack up and start renting spaces, and lo and behold, he's only got 24 spaces, but he's got agreements for 52 for businesses that said they're gonna park in his places. It's just an enforcement issue that you gotta follow up on.
Well, he can only park so many cars.
That's what
You
I'm
can't exceed whatever he has now. You can't park more cars there. And my point is, why do we restrict a new business when so many of the other businesses don't provide parking?
Well, a lot of the other businesses were pre-existing prior to the code as well.
Mhm.
I mean, they were there, they're pre-existing to the code. This is a new business that, again, similar to floodplain development, building codes. You're building brand new, you gotta go to that code. You can't go, well, back in 1893, they built it this way.
Yeah, we're not saying 18, we had Mike Spikes there.
Yeah.
That was only until 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Is there any guidance in there with regard to the recreation easement that you found in terms of required parking?
No. It says you have to find the closest resembling use possible, and I looked through quickly, I don't see anything close to that.
I have a question. If Mike Spikes was operating in that general area, was there a parking problem with Mike Spikes?
He had no parking.
He had no parking. But what did?
But he wasn't renting bikes, he was repairing.
No, he was renting.
He was renting?
He was
Oh,
renting
yeah?
bikes.
And he has more bikes than me.
That was a mistake on the planning board, because they allow that, while you're not allowed to have two businesses on one piece of property. The bed and breakfast was in the front,
Yeah,
and
he-
Mike's Spikes was in the back.
space in the back, yeah.
It shouldn't have went through, but it
Mhm.
did. People didn't realize that when it was issued.
So was anyone aware of any parking problems that were generated by that business?
No.
No. I mean, I think he was referring to the possibility that most people were actually not going to be driving to the business, which is different from most of the retail businesses, so.
Right, but you have to realize that when Mike Spikes was there, there wasn't the influx of people that there are now.
He's also right on Main Street on a commercial strip, an existing commercial strip.
Yeah.
What is it?
I mean, it's on commercial, like, that is kind of, and I can attest, I mean, we go in and out of the park, and we know the kind of traffic that's there, and especially with us having the ambulance building, kind of gets cluttered there. And if we ever get to rent the building again, health center or whatever it may be,
Right.
there could be
So
issues.
Howie, what is the requirement if it's just retail? How many parking spaces?
It doesn't have a section, doesn't
For retail?
definition of retail.
But I think
retail's like clothing.
So how big is the garage?
parking requirement.
How big is the garage?
But the building's not occupied by the users.
No, but
The streets are occupied by
Well,
the
that's the
users.
same thing as retail. You go in, you buy a hat, you walk outside.
But while you're buying that hat, you're occupying that 150 square feet, and that's why you have to have a parking spot. You're not occupying any space in there, you're just,
No, but you're going in, you're gonna get a bike, and then you're gonna leave. So it's the same thing as you go in. you buy a hat,
Is this
and
gonna
then
be
leave.
set
But
up
you're gonna leave on the
in
bike,
your garage?
perhaps,
Like, I mean,
unless
you're
you
gonna,
post it.
you're gonna be
That's the question.
exchanging money someplace, where is that gonna happen?
I have a little terminal that can happen right out there. You know, I can do it wirelessly.
Like right on your iPad?
Yeah, that's what.
I'm worried about the future. So we could just grant based on the retail space being the size of the garage, how many spots he needs, and that's it. With, of course, saying that he's got to be responsible, not allowing anybody to park next, on other people's property.
Right.
I totally will agree with that. You know, if ever anybody sees anything different, complain, stop me, whatever.
Where are the bikes gonna be?
In my garage, actually, is where I have it.
So they'll be in the garage.
Yeah.
What is the size of the garage?
I mean, I could bring them outside too, and, just have a few.
Well, he's looking at that. You said that the way to look at the parking was to look at other similar uses, is that what you read? That would be used in recreation?
Yeah.
There wasn't something specifically mentioned to find the closest thing that applies or is similar. And
approximate, because I don't have a scale on this.
This is 116,
so
So I have a
Roughly
basic
two
question.
required, 150 for.
So that's two spaces.
Now, for example, if somebody came to the park, let's say, right? And they happened to see the sign, and see the bikes or whatever. And they said, hey, we'd love to take them. Now, they've already parked there, they've gone in. I'm just curious how that would work.
Yeah, it's outside.
The way they'd normally park to go in the park. And then if they wanted to rent bikes, should I be telling them, yes, you can take the bikes, but you have to move your car from it?
If they're.
Well, where do they park when they go to the park?
Right on the, next to my neighbor's fence. The whole place is full, actually.
On your property?
No,
No,
number one.
Oh, the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the answer to your question is yes.
Tell them, yes, you can take a bike, but get your car out of here. Right? Even though you've been there for the last hour or two or whatever. Okay, fair enough. As long as I know,
Well,
I mean, is that legal parking or is that just a place people park?
I mean, my obvious question would be, who wants to drive a car to Phoenicia to ride a bike? You can ride a bike all over.
I absolutely agree, but I'm just saying that I don't know, but I'm just, just keeping all the options open just in case something like that did happen, if they came in a car. And they went for a hike and stuff like that, and then on their way back, they're like,
Yeah. So people park in the back of the supermarket all the time. In the lot. Do they use that and go in the park?
not that I don't see too many cars parked there, honestly. I just see that. I mean, I actually took a picture the other day with my phone on the weekend of that street. And it really sometimes is hard for me to even back out and come out of the driveway. It's just, they have cars there, it's totally packed. Do you agree? So, right? You see that, right? That all those cars that are there. On the...
I'm not really here on the weekends anymore.
Oh, I see. Okay. But yeah, I actually did take a picture. I didn't know if it was important, but I thought, everybody, it's packed all weekend.
We have agreements with the Graham Company and the,
Yes, and then the Graham and Co. also, I forgot to mention, they have a couple of bikes of mine as well.
one on Main Street.
I have three, one on Main Street, one on Declan's, one,
As far as bed and breakfasts and places where people are not going to be driving, they're walking.
Right, there I have, I've so far done it with the Phoenicia Bell and the Graham. Yes.
So those bikes, those businesses have got a place for the people to park who are using those bikes. So how many bikes are left at your place that people might drive to get a bike?
5. Because right now I have 5 of them, all of them.
So, I'm just thinking out loud, if we had to look for a business that's similar to this, it's kind of rail explorers. They get on bikes and they ride, but they're still limited to a track.
Well, we require parking for them.
I know,
Yeah.
I know.
And I agree with what Rob said. What you have to do with each business that comes in, you have to require parking. Somewhere, that's always been an issue in our town, there's not enough adequate parking.
That's a bigger problem, that should be taken up with the town board, because there is no parking in Phoenicia. So there is no chance for any expansion in Phoenicia because of the parking problem.
So for this
It
fellow
goes
here,
beyond what this man wants to do.
Yeah.
He wants to do with the whole town expanding. There is no room.
That's true.
So what's a reasonable number if somebody has 5 bikes to rent to expect? Maybe people come as pairs and ride bikes together? Is 2 cars, 3 cars the right number?
First, you gotta classify what it is under one of these guidelines. And saying home occupation and looking at that, that sounds reasonable, but still, again, you go to parking and loading standards and it says 1 per 125 feet of used area. So there's your standard. Now, it's up to you to say whether you're going to allow a deferment onto another parcel or something along those lines, but these are the guidelines. If you're going to go outside of that, then you're looking at a variance, say he needs to vary from those parking standards.
That's not up to this board. That's up to the determination.
Well, it's up to you guys to say whether you're gonna enforce the parking standard. If you're not gonna enforce the parking standard or defer, I almost think that's where it goes to a variance.
Right, but you have to let us know what it is.
That's you guys make the decision.
Yeah,
We make a decision of what kind of business it is?
No, what kind of parking, whether you're
Oh, yeah.
enforcing the parking standard or.
But you have to,
If it's a
Defer.
class 2 home occupation, then it's 1 per 125 square feet.
okay, and how big is this garage?
280. And he's got 3 spots.
And he has to use
Right, so that's.
So he also has his limousine business.
Well, I guess the move is.
Well, no, I don't have the limousine business there. Some,
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you said.
yeah, no, I do have a few cars there, you know, that are mine. But then not, most of my cars are really with my drivers because I have a stretch, it's too big to park there.
Yeah.
So those 3 spots that you have on those are open spots? You don't have your cars on those 3 spots, do you?
Right now, as of today, I have 2 cars in there. Sometimes I do have 3. But I can always not have them there.
These are your personal cars.
No, they're part of the business,
Oh,
and,
part of the
yeah,
business,
yeah.
okay.
And I have my 1 dog car that only my, 'cause I can't get the dog in the other car, so.
You only have 1 business there. You can't park the cars there. If you're gonna have this running out of your house, then those spots should only be for the people renting bikes.
Right. So you're running your car limousine business out of that building
Right.
also?
Not really, no. All my cars really are in Kingston, and one driver is by the Emerson. He has a car, another guy in Kingston, another guy also in Kingston. So my cars are with my drivers. I have 7 cars in
Oh.
total. Yeah, they're not all there.
I have a question, and I don't know how to handle it. But you have 2 bikes at Declan's liquor store.
One by
I'm
that.
just.
Oh, I see, gotcha,
You have
gotcha.
1 bike by the Bell,
Right.
and you have 1 bike by, these people that come to rent these bikes, aren't they gonna park where they see the bikes?
Man,
Don't we have 1 spot that we just lost in front of the liquor store now because they stopped to get a bike? Don't we have a spot that we just lost in front of the Bell because they stopped there to get a bike? I'm starting to see cross-utilization here of the parking, and I don't know how to handle it, and I don't know what the answer is, but I'm seeing an issue.
I think you're right, but do any of those businesses have off-street parking?
If they're pre-existing and they're non-conforming, then they do not. We have the parking lot that's been assigned to us in the pharmacy that we rent for $1. I believe we still have that for $1.
No,
No.
actually, no.
No? So we don't have, so we lost that parking. You know,
But people park.
for years and years, I've been suggesting that maybe the Globe Trailer Park is a floodway, not even a floodplain. What a great place to get FEMA to buy it and give us a parking lot for the town. They could go right across the train, it would be a perfect place, it's out of a congested area. But this is an issue that we have to consider overall. We can't just keep adding businesses and saying, oh, well, they can park in somebody else's place or somebody else's place. You know, it has to be addressed at some point.
Well, I'm reading what the explanation is for home occupation, and it's any limited personal service, professional service, or business use customarily conducted within a dwelling or a customary accessory building and carried on by the residents thereof. So it doesn't seem that if you're renting bikes that are going all over the village, that it's happening within a structure.
I think you were closer to it with recreation and amusement as the use.
Recreation and amusement.
And there we have some flexibility to say, what's it like? It's like Rail Explorers. What is it? How many cars you need for how many bikes? Or how many seats?
What does that number look like, Howie?
What's that?
What is the recreation, when you look up recreation?
Okay, recreation,
How many
it's
people
pretty
you-
vague, but it's the one thing that I came across that seemed to, it's a commercial recreational use, and it said, bear with me for a minute to find it here again.
And while he's looking that up, you can fit a lot of bikes in 280 square feet, you know, are we limiting it to this number of bikes now? Is it 10 or is it the 20? Is the scooters, is it not the scooters?
Well, he says he has 10 of each, so.
You don't have that kind of scooters yet, right? You just have the bikes.
Oh, no, I have them, I just don't have them,
They're just not registered.
So-
yeah, I'm not renting them yet, I have to get the legal issue sorted out, the insurance.
But it's no different than figuring out how many seats you needed, your maximum capacity at Shandaken and working backwards from parking. Same difference. There could be a limitation on the number of bikes he rents. It's like
Oh,
seats
he's
in a
applying
restaurant.
for 20,
Mhm.
so if he goes more
Yeah.
than 20,
Well, here is the other category that I saw that fit, and it's other commercial, recreation, and amusement facilities. And in the Hamlet commercial, it requires a special use permit.
now, how do we transfer that over to parking?
How do you, you can't really, there's no direct, but you could say, it doesn't sound like a home business, but it sounds like some sort of a retail business. And the retail business is going back to the same thing. I think it's 125 square feet per parking space.
I'll also point out, you got 20 bikes, and you say, if you're using the 125, say it's 3 parking spaces, you have 4 people in a car, that's 12, there's 8 more butts that are gonna be in seats. They may be driving a car too. Which one works? It's like,
Yeah, I think he should find some place else in town to park his personal vehicles.
That's fine, I can